Look right here. The filing clearly states the boundary is here, not 22 feet past it.
My measurements are correct, and the board approved the variance. This discussion is over.
The first thing I heard was the grind of trucks and a man shouting, "Move the cone, move the cone." Cold air hit my face as I opened the door. It smelled like burnt coffee and fresh asphalt. Flashing amber lights bounced off our windows like a storm. A crew in neon vests rolled black tar right over our chalked hopscotch and the painted kids at play sign. At 6:12 a.m. on May 3rd, 2024, our quiet Cul De Sac turned into a runway. The foreman waved a clipboard at me like it was a badge. He said the HOA had ordered a new parking spur. I stared at the curb. They were paving 22 feet into the circle, right where our kids ride scooters. That was the moment I knew this wasn't a mistake. It was a move. This fight had a name. HOA paved 22 feet into our Cul De Sac. Then I filed the Plat map. The board president, our crowned Karen, claimed it was for beautification and emergency access. Sure. She also said my little herb planter was a hazard because it was terracotta instead of beige. I motioned to the crew. I asked to see a permit. I asked to see stamped plans. The foreman shrugged. He had an email. That was it. The machines rumbled. The circle shrank. My son stood in pajamas at the window with his cereal bowl. I felt the street get smaller and my patience get thin. This wasn't about asphalt. It was about control. I tried to do it the soft way first. I went to the clubhouse at 9:00 p.m. that night. The room smelled like old coffee and lemon cleaner. Karen sat at the center like a judge with a tiny gavel paperweight. I asked for a stop work order. I got a smile that didn't touch her eyes. The board members glanced at the door like they wanted to escape. One neighbor whispered, later in the parking lot, "I can't say anything. She finds people." I filed 2 emails and 1 certified letter by May 5th. No answer. The next morning, a notice appeared on my door, saying I owed $200 for interfering with improvements. I laughed until I didn't. Interfering? With my street? That was my line in the sand, and I promised myself one thing, proper channels only. But the clever ones, I got to work. I lined up photos, emails, and call logs in a binder. I added screenshots of the foreman's email header and the crew trucks with license numbers. I pulled the subdivision's recorded plat from the county site. The PDF banner popped up, and I could feel my heart drum. There it was. The circle's boundary, the easements, the right-of-way. The file landed with 63 pages. I printed the page that mattered and circled the measurement with a red pen. Then I walked my tape measure from the center to the curb, 32 feet. They had paved 22 feet past the platted line, right into county right-of-way. I made a labeled record. Timeline item 1, April 5th at 4:27 a.m. false trespass call. Because, yes, a month earlier, Karen had called in a report when my brother parked overnight. Patterns of false reports can be prosecuted. I wasn't ready to press that, but the pattern mattered. I logged 11 homeowner complaints about parking since January, 6 from her, 5 from 2 board friends. By May 7th at 8:15 a.m., my binder had weight. So did my plan. The twist came at the ribbon day that Karen threw for herself. She stood on the fresh blacktop in a red blazer, holding big scissors like a parade queen. She'd mailed flyers that said the improvement cost only $2,600 and increased safety for all. I invited different guests. I emailed the city inspector, CC'd the traffic engineer, and attached the plat pages. I also invited the local reporter who loves messy neighborhood stories. When Karen lifted the scissors, the inspector stepped in. He looked at my binder, then at the hiss of the steam still coming off that shiny wrong edge. He set a level on the curb and flagged the stakes I'd placed at the platted boundary with blue tape. He said calmly, "This is county right-of-way. You paved over it without a permit." Karen tried to laugh it off. The reporter's mic moved closer. The foreman's face did the math. The inspector turned to the crew and told them to halt, and I swear you could hear the silence fall like a lid. Phones popped up. Kids pointed. Neighbors started filming from their porches. Someone said, "Wait, you paved our Cul De Sac smaller?" Comments hit our neighborhood group in real time. One neighbor posted my red circled map and wrote, "Karen paved herself a parking spot." Another wrote, "I thought the board said emergency access, not personal overflow." Even the mail carrier stopped and stared. The foreman muttered that he'd only seen an email, and the reporter captured his words. The inspector asked for the authorizing document. Karen's voice wobbled. She said the board voted. The inspector asked for minutes. I had already requested them. I had a reply. "No minutes available." The reporter smiled like she'd found dessert. The police cruiser rolled up slow. The officer stepped out, nodded at the inspector, and asked one question. "Do you have a permit?" Karen's face went pale as primer. Authority flipped fast when the papers matched the paint on the pavement. The inspector issued a stop work and a notice of violation. The officer logged a report number. He read the line about unauthorized work in the right-of-way and the fine schedule. He also looked at my timeline page and raised an eyebrow at the April 5th false trespass call. The law is simple. You can't build or pave on public land without a permit. The city scheduled a hearing for May 21st. At the hearing, the board's own attorney looked tired. He told them to reverse the work and pay fees. The council chair asked why the board ignored owner requests. The room laughed when Karen tried to call the Cul De Sac decorative. The order came down. remove the illegal paving, restore the original radius, reimburse costs, and pay a penalty. The total was $9,400 plus restoration. When the gavel tapped, small and final, I exhaled for the first time in 2 weeks. They came back with grinders and saws. The smell of cut asphalt was harsh but sweet. The circle grew back, inch by inch, like a breath returning. Kids rolled scooters past the blue tape and waved at the crew. Karen resigned as president the next week, posting a long note about health and family time. The board appointed a quieter neighbor who actually answers emails. The HOA refunded my $200 violation and sent a written apology for miscommunication. We set up a block movie night in early June. I brought brownies. The mail carrier dropped by for popcorn. The inspector drove past at dusk and gave a little salute. I tucked the binder away on a high shelf. If anyone ever tries this stunt again, we have the playbook. And if you're wondering, yes, I still have the Plat map pinned to my fridge like a trophy I earned with patience. Please follow for more HOA showdowns like this. Do you think she got what she deserves? Comment below